Welcome back. Now that we've learned the basics of working with Git, we can move on to working with GitHub. GitHub is a cloud-based platform for hosting repositories, which is just a fancy way of saying that it is a platform that you can use as a remote repository. So first, what is a remote? So far, we've been working with our own local Git repository, which is stored in the .git folder inside of our project. Remember that a Git repository is like a filing cabinet for all of your project's snapshots or commits. A remote is simply a Git repository that is not on your local machine inside of your project. Using a remote repository is key to being able to collaborate because it allows you to have a centralized place to share changes. Let's say that I ask for Jim's help on building a project. Since we work on separate computers, we would have two separate versions of the project, each controlled by their own local Git repositories. If I wanted to share the project with him, then I could push the project up to the remote, which would update the remote repository with my latest changes. Then Jim could subsequently pull the project down, which would update his local repository with the remote's latest changes, which I just pushed up. Whenever Jim has changes, he can also push them up to the remote repository where I can access and pull them down to the local repository. The important concept to remember here is that we have three separate repositories in this model, and the remote acts as a central hub where collaborators push and pull changes. One question I get a lot when introducing the concept of remotes is why can't we just send the project directly to Jim? Why do we have to go through the remote? There are a couple of reasons for this. First, Jim may be working on some advanced features that I don't have on my machine, so it's always good to have a centralized place where we can keep a stable repository. Also, it may work to share the project with Jim directly when we only have one collaborator. But if we add another collaborator, then it becomes apparent that we definitely do need a centralized place so that we are not sharing different states of the repository. This has been an overview of what a remote is and how it can be used to collaborate on a project. In the rest of the section, we'll learn how to set up the remote repository on GitHub and how to actually perform these push and pull actions.